Hey everyone, Jason here from Off the Beaten Path, picking up where we left off. We're leaving Bluff Falls and heading now up to Mt Elliot, which is a mountain I'd never visited before. Was recommended to me by someone to go and check this out. It's also pretty close to Corryong. So heading from Bluff Falls, we're turning left here onto Briggs Gap Road, which takes us through from the Cudgewar Bluff Falls Road that we're on through to Corryong. Nice relaxing drive through the countryside here. It's a cracking day with really great weather, and as you come through the gap, the next valley where Corryong is situated opens up nicely before us. And I didn't film in Corryong proper, so we've come into Corryong and then headed out northeast and turning right here off the Murray Valley Highway, or continuing on the Murray Valley Highway but turning, so I think it becomes River Road after that point if you continued straight ahead. Looking straight ahead of us there, that is Mt Elliot, so it's really not far out of town. There's a couple of main access points. There's one around the backside, and then there's this one here on this sort of front side that we're going to utilise for access today. You do have to know where it is and be looking out for it because it's not particularly well signed. There's a little signpost there just on the left hand side you could easily miss, and it really just looks like a driveway into a paddock. Yeah, you do have to sort of have a pretty good idea of where the access is and be looking out for it. Some of you might recognise this area from my Toyota handbrake test. So opening the gate, obviously you want to leave those shut. Always a good idea to leave the gates the way you find them, and got to remember to lock the hubs. That's the thing now. So generally I lock the hubs when I air down. In this instance I did it going through the gate because I was already around the front of the vehicle, and air down there before getting going again to 25 psi on the front and rear just to see what it's like. So decided to come and do this. I've been told it wasn't a very difficult climb, but it's the first time that I've taken the 76 off-road onto some steeper stuff, and really wanted to see how it handled, being such a different vehicle to the Pajero to drive, considering that we've got leaf-sprung suspension on the rear, we've got solid axles, we've got no traction control, and we've got no diff locks. And I am, as I keep saying, still running those road bias all-terrains, which have proven to be better than I expected. As you can see, it doesn't take long at all for this track to start climbing, and you can get an idea of some of the cracking views that you're in for. It was a really good day to be up and doing this on Mt Elliot, so that certainly didn't hurt at all. And just as we take this corner, looking back down the valley, can't quite see Corryong from here, but you can see here the track just works its way up the ridgeline, heading towards the summit. Starting to get a bit steeper by this section, not that the camera ever does that justice. And I was really quite pleased with how easily the 76 was handling this. Really wondered about traction control and whether I was going to get wheel spin on gravel on some of these steeper sections, and it really wasn't too much of an issue at all. So just dropping down a gear there. By the time I'm actually editing this, I've been driving the 76 now for probably about 8-9 months, so a lot better on the gear changes than when this was filmed. And look, if I've learned anything driving this as well, it's that when you're going up these sort of hills, you really kind of got to pick your gear at the bottom and generally just keep your throttle range in the sweet spot for that gear. You're not going to be changing gears going up hills because you'll lose too much throttle in the engine, lose too many RPMs while doing that, and it's just not gonna work for you. So you need to choose sort of at the bottom of the hill whether it's first, second, third that you're going to go up in, and drive accordingly. And while it's a fairly well maintained track, it is a bit loose and rocky in spots. There is a hang gliding base up on the top of Mt Elliot here, which also creates an amazing clear area right on the edge of the plateau where you get some cracking views from. And again, this camera angle is probably not doing anything to that gradient, but it's a pretty steady steep climb, that's for sure. And just following that ridge line, continuing the climb. You can probably hear the engine there working pretty steadily. But certainly, look, at no time did the car feel like it was working hard at all. And you know, it's a good example of where power and torque figures, you know, have some meaning, but because the torque is available on this V8 so much lower in the rev range than it was in the Padge, it just never feels like it's working hard because it's got the torque there to put the drive to the wheels to climb these hills at a low speed. So yeah, look, if you're in the area and you want to check out a mountaintop with a really great view and you don't want to take too long doing it, I can highly recommend you come and check out Mt Elliot. It's really not a difficult drive, and it's about 10 minutes outside of Corryong. And once you get up on Mt Elliot, you can actually continue along the spine of that range and head down towards Bluff Falls and onto somewhere like Wheeler Creek Hut if you wanted to, or you can get back out on the bitumen fairly quick as well. So coming along here, we reach this intersection where we turn right onto the Mt Elliot Ridge track. So that's the hard right. That other track just to the left of this one rejoins it shortly, and we head up to the hang gliding area and the main viewing area. So just coming up here on the right is a hut, and that's one that's been built to service the needs of the hang gliders. So it's been built a little bit like a hangar. You can get a bit of a view of it there. Quite unusual as far as high country huts go. But very cool that they've been able to utilise recycled materials by the look of it. Continuing on past that, we're coming up to the summit area where there's a couple of communications towers, not surprisingly. And then there is a gate that is currently open. And there's a couple of long drop toilets up here as well. You can see the Mt Elliot sign there on the right. And as you can see here, working our way towards the end of the hang gliding area. This is sort of the launching area. Been nicely cleared and maintained. There's another guy up here on a trail bike, just happened to be here at the same time. And you can just perhaps make out Corryong there panning across. What an amazing day it was up there. And that's Corryong that's just come into frame on the left hand side there. And on the other side, you've got a great view up to Kosciuszko Range there. And at this time there was a bit of snow still up on those mountains, which was cool to see. So Mt Elliot Summit, big cracking spot for a day trip. Come up here, you've got plenty of shade, set up, have yourself some lunch. You've got toilet facilities. So well worth the drive, and only sort of 15 minutes outside of Corryong. There's the trig point actually back here. And from here we just headed back down the Mt Elliot Ridge Track. Now I don't normally show the descent of all the tracks that we drive, but this particular time I did decide to show it because again, this being my first time off-road with the 76 driving anything steep, it was a good opportunity to see how it handles the descents in low range and how much engine braking I get. Okay, so we're heading down off Mt Elliot, second gear low range in the 76, and this is not the steepest section, but at the moment I'm actually giving it just a little bit of a nudge. There is some pretty steep sections of this. It's not a difficult track, but definitely some steep sections, and I'm really keen to try out the engine braking. So yeah, coming up to a steeper section now. So second gear, low range. That's probably letting me pick up just a little more speed than I would ideally like, but it is second gear. Certainly doing a darn sight better job engine braking than the Padge would have. So second gear, low range, probably doing 10 kilometers an hour. Once the RPMs are getting up to about just over 2,500, that seems to be where the engine braking is really kicking in. So yeah, onto a flatter section now. So it's going to be a really good test. So yeah, certainly doing a good job. And I didn't need to really go down to first gear. I think I may have tried first gear once or twice, but it was just too slow. So second gear on this grade of descent was more than adequate, with just the odd little bit of braking here and there to control, but more often than not I was actually nudging the car along by using the accelerator, as you just heard me say there. And so this section here would be all second gear low range with very minimal braking. So back on a steeper section here, second gear low range again. So yeah, this is a lot better than the Padge. So the Padge, even in first gear low range on stuff like this, would build up speed and it'd run away from me. Second gear low range, we're not getting over about 10 kilometers an hour. So obviously first gear low range would be a lot slower. But this is quite manageable. This is not a difficult track, it's just got this sort of steep section. So this is quite manageable. As you can see, we're barely getting over those washout humps. So yeah, look, I'm pretty impressed. You know, this is what I was kind of hoping for from the 76. A lot more control on these descents. It's flattening out now to a flatter section again. So, but yeah, it's so far, I would say definitely happy with the amount of engine braking that we're getting. So, and just coming down to that one of those sort of hairpin turns, you can see somebody's just set up down there off the track, probably just for the day. I don't know that that's necessarily a camping spot. You'd probably get away with it if you had a rooftop tent or just a swag or something. But yeah, look at that view as we're coming down here at the northern end of the valley there. Just amazing. So just on this section with the fairly steep sort of drop off, trying this third gear low range does mean probably a little bit of braking to control, but this is not nearly as steep as that other section that we came down. So although we're getting to a steeper section now, so yeah, we'll just try a balance of third gear low range and braking, and this is still actually better than what I would have had in the patch. So descending even further, again, the descent angle probably gives you a better idea of just how steep some of these sections of this track are. I mean, it's by no means the steepest track I've driven in the high country or anything like that, but it is definitely steep, and you're going to notice it driving it. You can see there my tyre marks from coming up where the tyres have done a little bit of work to push the car up, but even without traction control, I didn't really have any issues. Didn't feel like that I was, you know, spinning the wheel excessively or losing traction or anything like that. Getting lower down now, I think this is just about the last switchback again. Like, look at that view that's in front of me. Just outstanding all the way around. And you can see the Murray Valley Highway down there, which is the road that we came in off, just as we're getting ready to work our way down this last section. I think I was just adjusting exactly what gear I was in. Probably going to try this back in third gear again. But yeah, look, this was a great little run in the 76 to try something a little bit steep. Solo at this point with no winch on, so I didn't want to try anything too crazy. And the car performed very, very well and just continues to impress me. And I continue to be very happy with the move from the Padge to the 76. Very different vehicles. You know, this will never be as comfortable to drive, much as I've done things to try and make it more comfortable. It's never going to drive the way the Padge drive in terms of comfort, but certainly makes up for it in a lot of ways. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Plenty more 76 content coming along on the channel, and like this video if you liked it. Leave a comment down below. Always read all the comments myself and respond to them. If you see a response from off the beaten path, that's come from me, guys. No one else is logging in there and typing those comments in. So thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Enjoy this footage on my way home. I went via Bellbridge and over the Bellbridge Bridge across Lake Hume. So enjoy that, and we will see you in the next video.